Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, but the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy, just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn their fair share.
Yeah, and so again, it's just like I said before, it's like I agree with what you're saying, but you're literally the worst messenger for this. Both in terms of the style. I mean, I've liked that speech or stronger versions of it when I've heard it out of the mouth of Bernie Sanders for the last decade plus. But and also like then do something about it. Like even within the Democratic Party, and I understand the instant response is, well, he has to deal with Congress and everything, which is totally true. But like, and I'm not saying I want the Democratic president to do what Trump does, which is break the back of literally every other aspect of the party until they're nothing but a mouthpiece for him. And we'll have some of that later on today when we talk about Mike Johnson. But I don't know, Biden's strategy doesn't seem like it really paid off in getting some of the more conservative or centrist or pro status quo Democrats to comply. If we're I guess extending an olive branch to say he means everything that he's saying there, he clearly didn't get it. And when he didn't get it, and when Obama also wasn't able to get Congress on some of the biggest things, a public option, that sort of thing, to fall in line. Like at a certain point, is it just a bad strategy, or is it, well, do you really mean it? Because you got what you wanted your entire life. You became president. It's something you've been fighting for longer than I have been alive. And the 4 years go by, and I'm not saying that Biden didn't get anything done, but these big, lofty, and I think admirable goals that he's laying out in the last 80 hours of his presidency or whatever clearly didn't happen. And so
a storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating, and I'll give you last crack at this, Brian. I do want to also just say, normally we would do some of show what are people saying about it or whatever, but you know exactly what the right wing is saying.
I'm on two
stuff ever. We're not going to do it.
Yeah, I'm on two TV shows. One's called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and the other one's Yellowstone. And not once in any of those scripts, how successful they both are in any of their seasons, did they use the word oligarchy to communicate to regular viewers. The thing is, if this is where
oilmen, that's what they would have done.
That's right, and how to shoe a horse, which I do know how to do, by the way. But I think the where are we now thing is more important to me than what we need to fear, which is our healthcare system is still broken. Our insurance system is clearly broken. Mm-hmm. If the fires have proven one thing about our economy, is that it, like healthcare, is a complete flawed economic model that doesn't work, that need some kind of federal policy and attention that somehow delivers the most to people in need. And then, lastly, our media ownership is broken. There are so many institutional, or as I say, vertebrae in the spine of American economy and our economy that it's just broken. And I wish he would have just hammered home the old Scranton, PA kind of kitchen table issues that won him the presidency and said, what are we going to do about these issues? These are what people care about the most. And I fear that we're sort of still chasing a Trumpism when we should be focusing on the issues that you and Cenk and every one of the young Turks have been talking about ever since I've known you over the past 20 years. In my time being involved, the populist issues that people care about, that affect them the most. That's the sad footnote to the Biden presidency to me, is that none of those things changed, particularly healthcare.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of these big things again weren't even challenged, weren't even like, and you could see how much people want something like that, like the reaction to Luigi and all that. Like there is a desire for something to be done. Hopefully not something like that, but yeah. And so in the absence of that, what do people do? They fall for Trump, like dressing up like a garbage man or something, doing a bit of cosplay at a McDonald's. And then he comes in and he once again hugs to himself every billionaire in the country, and we know.
And I don't think you're ever going to keep wealthy people from getting a seat at the dais of an inauguration. You're always going to see the leaders of industry courting favor with a presidency and a government. But the big issues that bind us, and I believe it's part of why we're so divided, the big issues that really unite us, like healthcare, education, transportation, all these things that are for the public good, we're just not doing any work on collectively. Yeah. It's a bummer. Those are the things that unite us, literally.